Hi, and welcome everyone to Ethereal Encounters Unveiled. Today we are broadcasting live on the United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 on the Gulf Coast and 107.7 FM in beautiful New Orleans. Hello, everyone. It's always such a joy to be with you here again today. And to reiterate, welcome everyone to Ethereal Encounters Unveiled. Today we are broadcasting live. Yes, live. So please be sure and join the chat. We absolutely love hearing from you and joining in on our wonderful conversation. And of course, we're broadcasting from the United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network, available on FM as well, 105.3 on the Gulf Coast and 107.7 FM in New Orleans. So, we're going to talk about something that I find to be very interesting. I love nature, as most of us do, and I'm so intrigued by things like crystals and rocks. But if you think you know crystals, think again. Today, we're delving into the most grounded yet overlooked forms of divination, stone witchery, and lithomancy. So forget simple energy lists. We're talking about connecting with the Earth's oldest allies for powerful magic, protection, and true insight. And I know a lot of people get freaked out when they hear the word magic. Please open up your minds and spirit. It's a unification of nature, which we are all a part of. So get ready to discover how to use these rocks and gems in your collection to radically transform your practice. And today we are super excited as we welcome Amber K. She is the author of Stone Witchery and Divination. So let's bring her on board. Hi.
Hi, Carol Ann.
Such a pleasure to have you here today, Amber.
Oh, it's wonderful to be here.
Thank you so much. Let me get your banner running so folks can know where to reach out to you. And we have some wonderful people joining our chat, and you will hear me, of course, say hello to them. So let's get started. Hi, how are you, Z-Sun? Always a blessing to see you. Thank you so much. And of course, Patsy, love that crow picture you got there. Thank you so much, Patsy. And of course, we're going to have Heidi and many other people pop on in. So we are always welcome. Oh, there she is, my star sister. Thank you so much, Heidi. We love you dearly. So as we welcome people into the chat, Amber, excited to talk to you today because I've always been of the belief that the earth is magical in and of itself, and that we're very connected to everything in it and on it. And I've always, as many of us had and have, the attraction to crystals and stones and things like that. And I wanted to really delve into this topic today because I think a lot of people are underusing these things or not using them, even as tools of protection or just to enhance your own energy, your own vibration. So before we get started into that, I want to step aside for a minute and let you talk about yourself. So tell us how you got started, what you're doing right now. I know you wrote this fabulous book that I read and I absolutely loved. And we're going to dig deep into that today as well. So, and we'll have the link in the description of this video to where folks can pick up a copy, of course. But let me step aside for a minute and you can tell us more about yourself.
Sure. Well, like many people, I started my relationship with rocks and stones very young. As soon as I could walk, as soon as I was a toddler, I was picking up stones, as so many of us have. And I still have the first stone that I collected back when I was, 6 or 7 years old. Today, I'm a Wiccan priestess. I am 78 and I've been a priestess for about 45 years or so. And I have never stopped collecting and appreciating stones and rocks and crystals and gems in all that time, and still do so today. And we joke that our house will never blow away in a tornado because between the books and the rocks, it's impossible for it to move. So,
That's funny.
yeah. So that's me. I live in New Mexico. I'm the executive director of Ardantane, and the address is on the scrolling ribbon there. And we have online classes and sponsor retreats up here for folks that honor the earth and are of a magical persuasion.
Awesome. So maybe we can kind of um dig into, because people hear the word witch and they hear the word pagan and they immediately associate it with satanic, anti-biblical stuff. I think they just don't understand, and I'm always a non-judgmental person. I never judge anyone for their beliefs, whether they be religious or political. And I think the world would be a much kinder place if we all did that. But I want to dispel some of the things that people associate paganism and witchery. So could we start with that? Would you be okay with that?
Oh, absolutely. Uh, Paganism is simply a broad term for a number of spiritual paths that are nature focused, earth centered. Pagans were those who were pre Christian in Europe and elsewhere, and most of their appreciation and understanding of spirit was through nature. Nature is how the divine manifests in our minds, at any rate. When you look around you at the mountains, the fields, the grasses, the stars, the rocks, all that is a manifestation of what is divine and good in the world. So that's what paganism is about. Some people assume it means non religious or anti religious, and that could not be further from the truth.
Mm,
Now, within paganism, one of the paths is Wicca, which
mhm,
is related to witchcraft, but only positive witchcraft. The craft used for healing, the craft used for change, for positive magic, but only to help our fellow humans and the planet.
mhm,
So, witchcraft means that we use the skills of the ancient herbal healers, the ancient herb women and wise women and cunning men, as they were called
mhm.
in England. We use those skills of healing and magic and divination. And Wicca is a religious form of witchcraft, which is very benevolent, very
Mhm.
ethical, but as with all pagans, very nature focused. I mean, I am proud to be a tree hugger, a dirt worshiper. Um, when I look around me, I see the sacred. I don't see just
Yes.
resources to be used and discarded. I see,
Beautiful.
at the very least, these are gifts of God,
Yes.
at the very least. And I would go a step further and say they are manifestations of
Mm,
goddess and God. They are how the Creator shows himself or herself to us. And
yes.
they enable us to live and thrive on this planet. So that's what we're about.
Oh, I love that. That is beautiful. And I know I wanted to dispel some of the notions first because there's a lot of folks from different religious beliefs that think, as I
Mhm.
said before, that oh, witchery, it's evil, it's demonic, and that is the furthest thing from the truth. I know quite a few folks that are pagan that are very spiritual people and believe in God and the universe, and They have a lot of steadfast, beautiful beliefs, just like the rest of us do. So yeah, thank you for clearing that up for us. And just a few quick comments here. Yes, Heidi. She said, I can't walk anywhere without picking up a cool or pretty rock. I remember at about 3 carrying around a little snowman everywhere. Yes, beautiful. And someone said, alchemy, carry. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So, oh, and Patsy. Oh, wait, where did your comment go? You did a crystal segment on a paranormal show a few years ago. Wonderful. I would love to have you ladies on the show. And we can just have like a group chat about all this stuff. It would be so much fun. I'm gonna have to reach out to you guys. But so you've been involved in your beliefs in paganism for I think you said 45 years, right? So it's been a lifelong practice. Now, is that the first book that you wrote, or
No,
do you have any other books as well?
I think we have about a dozen published at this point.
Wow.
My partner, Azrael, and I co-write at this point. I wrote the first couple, True Magic and Covencraft, by myself, but
Mhm.
now we are writing partners and we have about a dozen out there, and they are
Oh,
on
wonderful.
tarot and magic and witchcraft and living a spiritual life and
Mhm.
just a whole lot of things in that general genre.
Yeah, you hooked up with an awesome publishing company too.
Uh,
Um,
yeah.
she's connected me to so many great people like yourself. So I'm so blessed for that. And so let's dig into what exactly is divination? Like your book focuses on lithomancy and stone casting.
Hmm.
So, for a beginner, what's the difference between these practices and more common forms of divination like crystal scrying or tarot? Like, how is that different?
Well, let's start with a general definition. Divination is learning things about potential futures and about ourselves using methods like reading the tarot cards or drawing a rune, a Norse rune in the morning, or um, reading tea leaves, or scrying, which is using a show stone or a crystal ball or something like that. And lithomancy is simply using stones to perform divination.
Hmm.
And people think of it as foretelling the future. The thing to understand is that the future is never set in stone, if I may use that phrase. The future is always changing depending on our actions and our decisions. We have agency here, we have power to affect our future. So when we do divination, whether it's drawing the tarot cards or whatever, we're simply looking at probabilities, things that are likely to occur
Hmm.
if we change nothing. And of course, at any moment, we can make a decision to change something, to take a different path in life,
Yes.
to improve a relationship, to create a relationship, to um, release something that's not serving us. Anytime we make those decisions, our future changes.
Yes.
And then we get to do divination again because then we have to see what it's looking like next. But we have a vast store of information available to us. You mentioned that we are connected with all things. A lot of us believe that the universe is a network of energies that connect everything and everyone.
Hmm.
So we can tap into all of that and all the information out there and into our subconscious, into things that we don't know that we know. And we can use stones or cards or whatever to clarify that and find out what's happening. And
Hmm.
so that's what divination is about. And there's a lot of different ways to use stones in divination. The one that this book focuses on mostly is casting stones.
Hmm.
Very simple. You take a handful of little stones, each of which has a meaning, and you cast it either on the earth or a cloth or a board with a pattern on it. Here's one that I just designed.
Oh,
I
that's
have,
lovely.
yeah, that's a Hecate divination board. It's going to be mounted on wood, and I'm going to then drop stones onto it, and the patterns of the stones and their locations will tell me something about my question. So that's sort of the brief introduction, but ask me more questions.
Oh, yeah. That board, is that something that you created or did you recreate it?
Now, I designed this on my computer. It's got symbols for one of my favorite goddesses around it, Hecate, who is an
Mhm,
ancient goddess from the Mediterranean.
mhm.
And there's symbols here that represent her different aspects and energies, like the torch and an ancient key and a black dog and even a frog. All kinds of things that have to do with that particular goddess. And when I drop the stones on it, where they land on these symbols is going to tell me something. So the book explains all of that in great depth.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I like designing these things.
Mm.
I've been
How
designing divination.
accurate
How accurate?
Yeah, how accurate do you find to be like so if you get a grouping of stones,
Hmm.
you've already held them and you've kind of exchanged energy with them, right? At that
Hmm.
point. So when you place them down, how do you know though what each stone signifies? So like say if a piece of quartz lands on the black Labrador, does that have a meaning?
Sure. Um, with this particular system, I've decided that the clear quartz represents the planet Mercury.
Mm. Oh, okay.
Mercury is named for the god Mercury, who's a god of communication and trade. Um, he's also a bit of a mischief maker sometimes. Um, but those are his main attributes, is communication and travel and trade. He's the god that you sometimes see with the winged sandals on, and he has a
Yeah.
winged helmet. Yeah. So he's about travel as well. So if his stone, the clear quartz, lands on the black dog, well, the black dog is an ally or friend of Hecate.
Oh.
So Hecate is always seen with black dogs. They're her faithful companions.
Mm.
And if you have a dog, you probably know that that's
I
what
do.
dogs are like.
I have a
Um,
black dog too.
yeah. So, based on my knowledge that, okay, I've got a stone representing Mercury, and I've got this black dog who's the companion and ally, what is this telling me? Well, we haven't mentioned what the question is. I can ask any question whatsoever, but depending on the question, this might mean that Mercury is an ally to me, a potential ally in either my next trip, my next travel somewhere, or in an important project that involves communication. Um, it could also be a reminder to me that I have those skills within me. There's a little bit of every god and goddess, a bit of spirit within each of us.
Mhm.
And within all of us, we have the ability to communicate, and we have the ability to travel safely and well and learn from our travels. So part of this might involve bringing out my own inner strengths. Part of
Mhm.
it might involve working with spirit in the form of Mercury. Part of it might involve looking around me and saying, okay, what kind of friends or allies or companions might I call upon in my current project to help me out? Because I don't have to do it all by myself. Again, it depends what the question is, and we didn't choose a
Sure.
question before we started. But this gives you an idea, and that's only with that particular set. If you have
Mm-hmm.
a different casting board and a different set of stones, it might work a little differently. But it's the general idea of linking up the meaning of the stone with the place it lands and determining the meaning from that. And if you don't happen to know a huge amount of philosophy or mythology or psychology or all that kind of stuff, that's why we have books that explain potential meanings to us, so we
Mm,
don't have to figure it all out on our own. And we open a book and it tells us what the traditional meanings of a tarot card are, and then we can
right.
apply that to our question. So it's not quite as complex as it sounds, and you don't have to know everything about history and mythology to do this. It can be extremely simple. As simple as this: I ask a question. Will I travel safely to work today?
Mm-hmm.
And I cast two stones, and one of them represents yes, and the other is no.
Mm,
The one that lands closest to the center of the area that I've cast is my answer. If the yes stone is very close to the center, it means yes, I will absolutely have a safe trip today. If it lands a little further, it's probably safe, but be wary. If it lands way out there and the no stone is closer in, then no, there's some hazards on the road today, and I've got to be very careful, or take another means of transport, or
mm-hmm.
travel at a different time. So, two stones can be enough.
Yeah. How
Yeah.
much of that do you think is, kind of like predicting your own outcome? So, if hypothetically the stone lands on "be wary, be careful," that like you're prophesizing that for yourself. How much of that is a part of that?
Yes, as I mentioned earlier, all of us have knowledge that we don't know we have. Our eyes and ears are constantly open all the time, taking in stimuli from all around us,
Hmm.
and most of it we're not even consciously aware of. Okay, but it does come into our consciousness and goes straight to the subconscious. Okay, you don't consciously notice everything, but you don't lose it either. So
Right.
that information is deep inside your mind somewhere, and using the stones can help you bring it out. So if I'm getting a stone reading that says, be careful today, there's danger out there, that's probably something in my subconscious telling me, you notice something that's off today. It went right by your conscious mind, but somewhere in your deeper mind, you noticed. When you were traveling yesterday, you noticed that there was heavy construction on one section of your route, and people were not dealing well with it. They were honking. There
Mhm.
were near misses. You notice that subconsciously.
Right.
So that rises to the surface when you do the reading and you think, okay, there is something potentially hazardous there.
Oh, I see.
So I don't think I don't think that strange beings out there, angels or demons or whatever, I don't think they are reaching down and manipulating the stones for us.
Mhm.
That's pretty superstitious in my view.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I do think we have access to knowledge that we're unaware of.
Mm.
And by giving ourselves a focal point, like stones or tarot cards, we're able to bring that to consciousness.
Oh, I love that explanation. It makes so much sense. So it's not like magical thinking or anything. It's
Yeah.
more relying on your own untapped senses, things that, like you said, we're not acutely aware of in our peripheral or in our brains, the parts we use of it anyway. So you're kind of tapping into like your own self in essence. Yeah, you have a picture in your book that I love. so folks can kind of get a good feel for like how you use these stones. So you can take two stones, one stone, several. I guess it just depends on the type of reading you want to do, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, I wish you could see there it is, the full color version. So that's a
Nice.
rather elaborate casting board there. It doesn't have to be fancy. In fact, you don't have to have a board or a cloth at all. You can just throw stones on the ground and do this.
Mm,
And someone collected a whole bunch of very pretty stones here, turquoise and quartz and maybe a carnelian and all kinds of things. But that's one example if you want to get fancy.
yeah.
Um, a lot of indigenous peoples do something like stone casting, but often they will just drop them on the earth. And
Yeah.
then you look at the patterns, which stones are closer to each other, which form little groupings, which ones are close to the center or far away. So you don't even need the fancy stuff.
Yeah. Very
Yeah,
beautiful. Yeah, I just have the PDF version. So, yeah, it's a beautiful cover. Patsy even said too. Oh, everyone loves your cover, Heidi. Yeah, really cool, really cool. Um, so the stone human relationship, you speak about developing a relationship with your stone allies. So what does this mean for folks to understand, like in a practical sense? It's like,
sure.
what's the first step that a reader should take when connecting to stones? Because I mean, as I mentioned before, I would think it's important to develop like a connection to them, right?
Hmm. Yeah. Well, let's spend a moment and go way back in
Yeah.
history. Okay, when humanity first appeared on the earth, we didn't have any tools. And
Hmm.
probably the first two things that we ever encountered and used as a tool were a stick and a rock,
Yeah.
right? Especially if we lived in the trees. Hey, sticks all around and
Hmm.
rocks everywhere. So from the very beginning, we had a relationship with stones. Let me give you an example here. Okay. Can you see this stone?
Oh, yeah. Beautiful.
Okay. This is a stone tool that some of our ancestors created over 150,000 years ago.
Wow.
This is a stone hand axe created by a Neanderthal person at least 150,000 years ago, maybe much older. Okay?
Wow.
This meant the difference between life and death.
Mhm.
Because with this stone, they could defend themselves
Yeah.
against something. They could throw the stone and knock down game. They could chop wood with the stone and get firewood from it. They could skin meat off the bones of a mammoth or a deer or something
Mhm.
and then cook it. Um, Something this simple was often the difference between life and death. So, did they value these tools, do you think? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
So, I value this one.
Oh, yeah. That's a beauty for sure. I know you're just getting over a cold, so thank you so much for coming today.
Yeah, you'll have to excuse my voice. I have pony problems. You're supposed to ask what pony problems are.
I was about to.
Yeah, it means I'm a little hoarse. Okay.
Oh, I get you.
So, sorry.
That's cute. That's
Yeah.
cute.
Anyway, so we have this long, long relationship with stones. And today, most people just think of stones as material to build with or something to kick aside from your path
Yeah.
or whatever. And that's unfortunate because not only are they ancient tools that were important to our ancestors, but what if stones do have spirit? Okay, can
Mhm.
anyone prove to me that stones and trees and mountains and stars do not have spirit within them? I
Right.
don't think so. I don't think science has evolved to the point where we can tell if something has a soul or not. But we do know that stones have energies. That's
Yes.
for sure. I mean, first of all, they absorb energy from the sun, right? They absorb other kinds of energies, radiation from the earth.
Yeah.
They absorb our own energies when we hold them, because, of course, we have energy within our bodies or we wouldn't be alive. Yeah. So stones are full of energies, and depending on what they're made of, what different materials they are made of,
Oh, that one's beautiful.
they have different kinds of energies, don't they?
Mhm.
They feel different in the hand. That's a pirate
Ooh,
sun.
I was just gonna say it looks like the pirate. That is gorgeous, that stone. How old is that? Is that ancient or is that a new stone?
Well, there's very few new stones out there, okay?
True, true. Well, for
Yes,
you.
uh, stones are being created all the time, but this one is, yes, millions of years since this was
Wow.
created. Yeah. So, anyway, so
Gorgeous.
stones have different energies. And as you said, we can form a relationship with the stone. And it starts with just taking a stone that you like and holding it and
Mm,
feeling the energy and asking yourself, what does this feel like to me? Start with, is it cool or warm? Okay. Start with, does it feel sort of lively and sparkly, or does it feel solid and earthy,
mm.
stable? Within stones are many different energies. And one of the mistakes that I think a lot of authors make, they give you these lists of stones and
Yeah.
they say, this stone is good for this. Amethyst is good for
Yes, we see that everywhere.
moderation. Yeah. And so on and so on and so on. So there's these lists here. And to those lists and those authors, I would say, yes, maybe, but.
Mm.
Okay. My energy is different from your energy.
Yes.
And it's different from every other human's. This piece of carnelian has a somewhat different energy from any other piece of carnelian. Is it carnelian from Madagascar or Brazil? They're going to have somewhat different energies. They certainly have different histories. Okay, so if the stone has different energies from all the other ones like it, and if I have a different energy and I'm working with this stone, I can't just look at a list and say, oh, carnelian is for developing affection in relationships.
Mm.
Because for me, it might be a little different. And this stone might be a little different. So I think when we say get to know a stone, that means don't open a book, read what's in there, and say, oh, that's gospel. Every carnelian in the world is the same and does this one thing. No. This carnelian is going to be a little different. And working with my energy field, it's going to be different still. So you have to take that into account.
Oh,
So
I
you
love
hold,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
you hold the stone. You work with the stone. You try putting energy in, you try drawing energy out of the stone. You sleep with it under your pillow. Okay.
Ah.
You use it in divination and see where it shows up on your casting board. You talk to it. Okay. And you listen to it. Obviously, stones don't have voices in the sense we do, but they radiate energy. And if
Yes.
you are patient and quiet and sensitive, then eventually you will start to understand the energy of that stone and maybe even get messages from it.
Oh,
That sounds pretty woo woo, doesn't it? But
no,
just think
I
of,
love that. Yeah.
yeah.
I love
So
that.
all communication is energy, and
Yes.
everything can communicate with us. But most human beings aren't patient and quiet enough
That's right.
to listen to it.
That's so true, and Heidi, I agree with you. I'd like to walk right outside now and start it really gets you going because I think innately we all know these things, but we're, like you said, we're so afraid of being called woo woo or cuckoo. And it's sad because it's all a part of nature and we are a part of nature. And I
Mhm,
think Kevin made a point earlier. I'm trying to look for that. Where did he say that that's why some people can't use certain stones? Oh goodness, Kevin, I can't find it. But anyway, I'll find it. Um and I agree with that. I think there are
mhm,
some stones, crystals that we can't connect to. Like I've even been in stores and you know how they have those little description tags like you buy a crystal bracelet and it says, "Oh, this does that," like you said before. But I've picked them up and I said, "You know, I just am not feeling it. I'm just not like," and you instantly feel that. I do anyway.
mhm. I would far rather pick up a stone off the road that feels good to me and has the right energy
Mm,
than, you know, spend $10 in a store for a little rock because someone said it would help me.
yeah,
If I don't feel the attraction and the connection, why would I want to work with it?
exactly.
But
Exactly.
you mentioned a really good idea, which is simply to go to a big rock shop, if you can find one, and spend some time wandering around and fondle the stones. Okay?
Yes.
Pick them up and hold them and say,
Yes, I do that.
yeah. And believe me, if you're at all attuned, then one or more of them will say, I'm the stone, take me home. Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
I've got some juice for you.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. That's exactly what I do, especially if I'm going to invest money into something, I really have to feel connected to it. I mean, I'll do
Mhm.
that with a shirt. You know, it's not only the appeal of how it looks visually, but you have to like feel it and get to vibe with it. And it's, you know, and I think you're right. More people, they just don't take the time to do that. I love everything that we're talking about here, Amber. It's so brilliant. This is what Kevin Z Son was talking about. He said that's why some people can't use certain stones, and that's exact. We've got so many great comments here. Mish says so. Working with stones and Reiki, you're picking stones to use on another person. That's right, and it does.
Absolutely.
It makes you rethink before you know, you kind of adopt that stone. It's kind of like plants too. Like I could walk
Mhm.
into a plant store, Amber, and I don't just go by the aesthetics. I go by how I vibrate with that plant. Like because I truly believe that my plants, which I have many, do communicate with me.
Sure.
And I think it's so good for us to look at stones and crystals. Stones are crystals, right? I mean, it's all kind of the same thing and take that same approach. And that's why I loved your book because it's such a good way for folks to connect, reconnect, rethink about their relationship with stones and nature, right?
And it's very healing to work with stones, even if
Hmm.
you're not a Reiki practitioner, which I am. For those who are not aware, Reiki is an energy form of healing that comes from Asia, mostly Japan, but there are Chinese versions. And Reiki uses energy and often crystals or stones uh,
Hmm.
in that form of healing. But even if you're not doing that, simply spending time in nature and especially time with stones and rocks, this is very grounding for you. This slows your heart rate. This brings down your blood
Mm.
pressure. This enables you to breathe the clean air and just to relax. And it's a very healthful thing to work with stones and any aspect of nature. I'm looking out my window here at a glorious New Mexico landscape. So that's why I keep glancing to the right because that grounds me and
Yes.
energizes me at the same time to just look out there.
Oh, yeah. Wonderful. Yeah. Kevin said again, I agree. He's gone into like native spiritual stores and some things he touched called to him
Yes.
or felt the energy, and some not so good that kind of left him blank. And that's like a good way to describe it.
And he's trusting himself. He's trusting
Right.
his own feelings about that. And if you do pick up the wrong stone, maybe it's very pretty, maybe it's
Yeah.
set in jewelry, and you buy it and take it home. There are stones that simply um, conflict with your energy so much,
Mm.
they will shatter or they will fall out of their setting and be
Oh,
lost.
wow.
I have had several acquaintances and friends that have lost stones this way, and some of them just, and these
Isn't
weren't
that
fragile
interesting?
stones like opal, these were
Yes.
sturdier stones.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. It's so interesting because I had bought this cross necklace and it was full of beautiful different stones. It was just incredible piece of jewelry and I absolutely loved it and I would wear it every day. And then one day I went out and I lost it and I was devastated
yeah.
that I lost it. And then someone said to me that the reason I lost it is because I lost my like spiritual connection to it. It was meant for someone else
Hmm.
to have. So I kind of accepted that as a reason, but I still felt so heartbroken over it. But you're right. I kind of just said, well, it wasn't meant to be in my life. Let someone else enjoy it. And I'd hoped that someone who found it would.
Yes, absolutely.
That's so true, right? It's funny how we connect to certain things, especially jewelry. I mean, so so you explore in your book some ideas of stones being sentient, and we kind of touched upon that.
Hmm.
So how has adopting this perspective changed the way you approach your magic? I mean, I'm sure you've done that decades ago, but and what advice do you have for us as and you gave us some tips to connect, but will we get to a point like my necklace where say we're working with stones and we love them where we're just not vibing? What do we do with the stones then? Like
Oh,
do we give them away? Do we keep them and just not use them?
mm. um, if you're not connecting with the stone, either immediately or after a time, I would say pass that stone along to someone
Mhm.
else, and someone
Yeah.
else may have a different need or a different energy field and have a very different connection with that. Before you do that, it's a good idea to clear the energy from it.
Mm.
And what does that mean? That means doing a little cleansing ceremony, either with running water or incense or Palo Alto smoke or something. Um, and that's so the stone will release your energetic connection to it
Yes.
and clear itself and just be the stone's energy by itself again. And
So
then,
water does that? Like what do you do? Just bathe it in water?
yeah, traditionally, natural running water is ideal, like dipping it into a stream or something like that.
Ah.
Um, but it doesn't have to be that. As I said, incense, simply leaving it out in sunlight and moonlight will eventually cleanse and clear the stone. Any kind of energy radiating through it will cleanse it
Will
and leave
cleanse.
only the stone's original energies. You can also just set it on the ground somewhere, and the different excess energies will just slowly soak into the earth, leaving only the stone.
Yeah, because I always hear about leaving stones in the moonlight to like recharge them or I guess that's clearing them, right? It's the same thing. So Heidi said her daughter gave her a chakra bracelet and she wants to know if she should cleanse it first or like when you get a gift from someone, is that like a good idea to do?
It's generally a good idea, but again, it depends what energies it brings with us. If you have a wonderful relationship with your daughter and she gifted this to you, maybe it's got some of your daughter's energy or vibes in it,
Oh,
and then you
right.
would not want to clear that. You would want to allow those to stay there. On the other hand, if you purchased it or it comes from someone you don't know very well, um, again, trust yourself, hold it in the
Yeah.
palm of your hand, which is sensitive, and
Yeah.
see what kind of energies you're feeling. And if there's anything there that you don't care for, then go ahead and do a cleansing.
Now she said it broke and she wants to use the stones like in a new bracelet.
Mhm.
Would that be the same if it came from a loved one? Don't cleanse it, just kind of reset them in a new. Yeah, I would agree. I would agree with that. So, Mish, you had an opal disappear for 6 months and you found it. Oh, that is so lovely. I wish my necklace would come back to me, but it hasn't yet. Oh, Michelle Hopton, such a blessing to see you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Um,
We're having such a wonderful conversation. I absolutely love this. If you don't mind, I love saying hello to folks that
sure.
pop in, of course. So,
I
yeah,
heard.
I love that advice. So, either the sun or the moon would do a good job at cleansing, or a lake, putting like running water maybe by a stream or a river would do that as well, or
Yeah,
incense you
sure.
mentioned, right? Yeah, yeah. Oh, good. She said she was listening. She loves I think we all have such an innate attachment to stones and crystals and the like, because look at how we're drawn to them without even realizing it, and that's why I kind of get upset when people look at this and go, "Oh, it's witchery," it's I'm like, "Good Lord, you don't you come from this planet and all these things are gifts here given to us. So please don't label stuff, not anyone here, because our listeners are just so on target, but just
Yeah,
folks listening. I always just say, open up your spirit and your mind and kind of rethink about some things that maybe you need to rethink about, right?
yeah. And I want to mention also that sometimes our favorite stones do disappear and
Mm.
reappear.
Oh,
And yeah, folklore would say that maybe the brownies or the pixies are borrowing
yeah,
them and playing tricks on it. Well, I'm not sure about that, but
right.
um, what if the stones themselves decide that they need a little break or that you need a break from their energy?
Mm.
And I've had stones that I swear were using me to get somewhere else. They were using me as a
Oh,
mode of transportation. And I could tell you
great.
stories about that where it's like, okay, I was carrying this stone around for who knows what reason forever,
Mhm.
and then ran into someone that desperately needed grounding. And I thought, oh, that stone I've been dragging around. Okay, have a stone. It's good for grounding.
Right, right. Oh,
And even
Mish,
yeah,
thank you so much. We're getting
yeah,
such lovely comments, but I would love to hear a story about something that you beloved and disappeared and it came back into your life. And a lot of people will say things like, that's the Mandela effect. It's like a dimensional shift in time. There's so many obtuse reasons. We can come up with so many different reasons, but I love the thought of a stone needed a break from you, because that could be true too, right? I mean, sometimes it's just good to part ways with these things.
yeah. Sometimes you need a mental or energetic reset in your life. You need
Yeah.
just to uh, clear your mind, clear your field,
Yes.
and do something different. And if you're totally reliant on a certain rock or a piece of jewelry or the same outfit of clothing that you're wearing far too much, or you're just sick of being housebound, sometimes you need that reset. You just need to break off, do something totally different,
Yeah.
and come back to your life fresh. And
Yeah.
yeah, maybe
So
stones
true.
are helping us with that.
Yeah, they could be. They could be. Have you ever experienced, since you've been a pagan can I call you that? Like, well, how do you like to be referred to? Is pagan fine? Like,
I am a pagan priestess and
right.
specifically a Wiccan priestess, and I'm very proud of those
Oh, absolutely. So
titles.
as a Wiccan priestess, which I love that title, um, you were obviously compelled or drawn to that in your youth. Have
Hmm.
you ever experienced something truly I know this kind of changes topics a little bit. I feel compelled to ask you, have you ever experienced anything that was truly like what we would call high strangeness or paranormal, like whether it be with ETs or spirits or any of that stuff? Has that been present in your life as well?
Absolutely. Um, the longer you work with magic, and the more you keep an open mind, not so open that your brain falls out, but an open mind, um, the more things like that you'll encounter. And part of it is just being able to be still and be
Mhm.
aware and observe what's happening around you. Because there are amazing things happening around us constantly that we don't always notice just
Yes.
because we're too absorbed in something else. But
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
give you an example.
Mhm.
I had friends once who told me they knew some women, young women, that lived in a haunted house, and they were concerned about it. Okay,
Mhm.
um, and and they asked me, being a Wiccan priestess, if I could come to the house and sense whether there was anything to be concerned about, whether
Mhm.
they needed an exorcism or whether there were spirits in the house that were not entirely friendly or whatever, whatever. Okay. So I went there and we cast a circle, which is a protective boundary of energy. And outside the circle, we created what's called a triangle of manifestation.
Mhm.
And if there's a spirit being out there and you know how to invite it, it may appear in the triangle of manifestation, and then you can communicate and learn more about it. So, yes, there was a spirit living in the house. And yes, it was a gentleman who had lived there previously to these young women that shared the house.
Mhm.
And he had owned the house and lived there and died there. And
Mm.
for whatever reasons, he was not ready to move on. He was
Right.
very attached to the house. He was also an artist, as were a couple of the young women that live there now. And one of the reasons he didn't want to move on was he was intrigued by
Ah.
their artistry and their skills. And part of him wanted to watch what they created and maybe be a mentor, or,
Mm.
he couldn't let go of his craft, which was painting, I believe.
Yeah.
Um, so anyway, we communicated with him, and uh, there was no problem with him being there as long as he was desiring to stay and not move on to the afterlife. That
Mm.
was his choice. But the other strange thing that happened was I invoked the goddess Hecate,
Mhm.
who is really helpful for these kinds of things, for communication with spirits and so forth and so on. Hecate is sometimes called the queen of the witches, and she understands all this stuff.
Yeah.
At the moment that I was calling Hecate to the circle, this great howling and baying, only a few feet away, dogs howling and howling,
Oh, wow.
started up. At the moment I called her, and I had no idea there were dogs in the house or near the house, I asked the young women, "Well, you have dogs?" They said, "Yes, we have two big black dogs that live with us here." Hecate is often depicted with two large
Mhm.
black dogs.
Oh, wow.
They heard me calling Hecate, and they immediately jumped on the bandwagon and put their energy into the
Oh,
calling.
that's fabulous.
Yeah. And that's one small story. I could tell you a lot more, but
Did the gentleman stay? Like, how did that resolve? Did he leave or
no, we obviously gave him the choice of, do you need help moving on?
yeah,
Because a lot of ghosts, quote unquote, are simply human spirits that don't know how to move on.
yeah.
They're stuck. Um, we gave him that option. And he said no, he wanted to hang around for a while. The last I heard, he was still in the house
Mm.
and on good terms with the young women
Oh,
that lived
good.
there. And that's all I know.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, as long as they're not doing anything nefarious, I would imagine it'd be cool to let them stick around if they're not hurting anybody.
Very few ghosts are malevolent. Very few.
Yeah.
A lot of them are confused and lost. Um, and
Yeah.
some of them
Sad.
are very well-meaning. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So how do you and how do we use stones to protect ourselves from these malevolent spirits? I mean, they're out there.
Mm,
There's darkness and light together. There's
yeah.
good and evil. What is it that you do, of course, and have been doing, and what can we do?
Okay. That is a very big question because it's not just about malevolent spirits. Are there malevolent spirits out there? Yeah, there's some. But more dangerous than that, actually, is the ambient energy field that we all live in all the time.
Mhm.
Okay. Because it's polluted. Okay. And I don't
Ooh.
mean only polluted with the things that cause global warming or emphysema or asthma. Not only those kinds of pollution, but negative energy. There is enough anger and distrust and conflict and hatred in the world, and we can feel that. All of
Oh,
us are empathic.
absolutely.
I worry about that much more than I ever worry about evil spirits. Okay? Evil
Mm.
spirits are few and far in between, and they're not difficult to deal with usually. But this sort of um, sludge, emotional
Yeah, it
sludge
is
that's in the
sludge.
atmosphere,
Yeah.
that's what can affect us.
Mm.
And to deal with that, yes, you can use stone magic. Absolutely. You can use amulets and talismans. You can use stone wards in your house, at your doorways and windows. You can do things on your altar with altar stones. You can create special hearth stones to protect your house. There's a million ways to do stones. That's all in the second half of the book.
Mhm.
It's about magic with stones rather than divination with stones.
Right.
Um, but I'll tell you where it starts. It starts not with rocks. It starts with keeping your own energy field healthy and strong and positive.
Yes.
That means paying attention to the energy that you feel. If you can, learn how to do things like chakra cleansing, cleansing
Mm.
your own energy field,
Mhm.
releasing the negative stuff, and rebuilding your energy boundaries so that the negativity doesn't just percolate into
Filter
you.
in, yeah. Yeah.
So that starts with taking care of your energy field, being completely aware when you're headed to a negative space emotionally or mentally, and countering that, changing the way you think and the way you feel. And that is a very magical thing to do. The art of changing consciousness at will, that's magic. So
Oh
it's
god.
learning to control your own mind and your own
Mhm.
emotions in a positive direction. It's learning to eat healthy. Okay? Simple stuff, nutrition, exercise.
Right.
People don't always want to hear this because if they're feeling bad, they want a magical quick fix. You
Yes.
know, make me a talisman that will fix everything in my life.
Right.
Well,
Doesn't work that way.
No, start by getting your life together, taking care of yourself, and then, yes, you can use stone magic, you can use energy magic, you
Mm.
can use all kinds of nature magic to help that. But it doesn't do any good if you're killing yourself with drugs and negative thinking
Yeah.
and bad self-talk. You know, if you're
Oh,
if you're slowly killing yourself,
yeah.
having a good rock is not going
Is
to help.
not gonna help. Yeah.
Yeah,
Gosh, that is the gospel truth. I mean, and you're right about this dense, sludgy feeling. We can feel it globally too when you unfortunately have to watch the news so that you're
mhm,
acutely aware of what's happening. Although I try not to make a habit of that because it just became very toxic in and of itself, just watching the news all day, whenever.
yeah,
But also, I love that everything you said is so spot on. And I think we can all improve in that area, in fixing us and doing the work because a lot of people just don't want to do the work
yeah,
and they are relying on, spells and whatnot to do the job for them. And I can't help but think of like, when you see things like the music industry and how it's being infiltrated with a lot of this satanic stuff and people
mm,
supposedly selling their soul for fame and fortune. And it's so prevalent, it's all over social media. This one is practicing satanic rituals but they're creating that themselves, right? I mean, they're bringing that energy in themselves. So it's not really Satan responsible for their fame and fortune. I mean, although
mhm.
I guess maybe in some cases I don't know. Do you think it works that way or is it just again self-inflicted all this magical thinking?
Well, first of all, Satan is not part of my religion or my thinking, uh,
Right.
so I can't speak to that. Um, I think we have to be aware of the toxic impulses inside ourselves and not just assume, oh, that came from somewhere else and I'm not responsible. You can
Right.
say that you can say the devil made me do it, but
Right. Right.
hey, you if you don't want to
So
do it,
true.
don't do it.
Right. That's so
So,
true.
so yeah, I'm afraid that there is a huge amount of toxicity and negativity that people dump into social media, and I think if you go on social media, you need to be, I guess I'll use the phrase spiritually armored in one way or another.
Yeah.
Be ready to encounter the negativity and don't let it into your heart. You know,
Mm,
give back love and compassion and clarity wherever
exactly.
you encounter the poisons out there. And I know a lot of our Christian colleagues would agree with me here is that
Yeah.
what the world needs now is love, sweet love,
That's right.
not more hatred, not more anger.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we live in a world with so much divisiveness and political hatred it's funny because I remember like as a child, nobody hated you because of your politics. Like we just never thought of that stuff. Nobody
Yeah.
cared. They
Yeah.
cared if you were a good person or not, or a good neighbor, or a good sister or brother. Nobody cared about if you were a Republican or a Democrat. And look at what it's become. Just another way for us to separate ourselves. But I love that use divination and stones and crystals after you've done like the shadow work, right? Like do some shadow work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's one of the main things that is part of our path in Wicca is doing the shadow work, which means digging down inside yourself to the stuff that you don't like about you, the stuff that you've hidden away deep in your subconscious.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shine a light on that, bring it out, and
Yeah.
heal it, and deal
Love
with it,
that.
cleanse it.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh,
Let's
Mish
tackle
has,
Mish's comment here.
yeah,
She has a rock from I'm not even gonna attempt to pronounce that. You're
Allura, yeah.
oh, okay.
Yeah,
Never heard of that.
formerly known as Ayers Rock. It's a huge stone formation in the middle of Australia that is
Okay.
sacred to the Aboriginal people there. And
Oh.
one of the traditions is that being a sacred stone, you don't just
Mhm.
climb around on it and leave your candy wrappers. You don't do
Mm.
that any
Mhm.
more than you climb around on a Catholic altar. You just don't.
Yeah.
And you don't take a piece of it away with you um, as a souvenir. So here, Mish is saying that her family tore apart. Mish has the rock, and my siblings have shunned me. Um, well, I'm not going to speak to how much of that has to do with the rock you've got, but I
Mm.
will say this out of respect for Aboriginal traditions and religion,
Mhm.
get that rock back to where it came from. It is a sacred thing, it is a piece of a sacred place, and it needs to go home. And if your
Oh.
life doesn't turn around after you return it, I'd be a little surprised because that's going to help. Okay?
I love that
So,
idea. And I've heard of that where people have brought rocks back
yeah.
to locations for that specific reason. Um,
Patsy
it would
says, think about what was happening before you had the stone. I think not the stone's influence. I'm not going to blame it all on the rock. Okay.
mhm.
I'm just going to say that's one little piece you have control over. And just out of respect, deal with that part of it and then look at what the rest of the problem is.
So what can you do if you live like Mish said she lives a long ways away? How could she mail it back? I mean, no. What yeah, right? I would just put it in an envelope and mail it to some, I don't know, post office or something. Or if you know anybody,
You do. Um, every human being is within 7 degrees of separation of every other
hmm,
human.
there you go.
You know somebody who knows somebody who knows
Right.
somebody, etc. So find somebody that knows an Australian. Contact that Australian, say, I would like to return this to the hands of the Aboriginal people who cherish it. And how would I do that? That Australian can find you an address of an Aboriginal elder that would
Yes.
receive the stone. You can do
Brilliant.
this, just takes a little work.
Yeah, yeah.
But think
Mish, you
about
know Karen on the network, Karen, she's from Australia. I'm sure you could I
there you go.
understand that. Oh,
Yeah.
you're in Australia. Oh, I
Oh,
didn't
good.
realize. Well, there you
Okay.
go. We didn't know that. Oh, so then it shouldn't be too bad, right?
No. Can I tell you another little secret about respecting stones
Yeah.
and and the people who cherish them? If you train yourself to respect something as simple as a little rock and to believe that it might have spirit and that it has value, it might even be sentient, we'll never know. If you train yourself to see every rock in your life like that, what if that were to spill over? And what if you started
Ah,
treating everything in nature with that same respect? And what if
mm,
you started treating every person in your life with the same respect?
right.
And what if that one little habit just sort of sent out a wave of love and respect to everything and turned you into a more loving and respectful person?
Oh, I
I
love
think
that.
that's quite a gift from a little rock.
Yeah, I love that. That's such a great way to approach life just in general, you know. Let it spill over. Wow. That's
Yeah.
fantastic. So, was there a specific moment or a stone in reading your own life that made you realize that, like, lithomancy needed its own dedicated book? Like, or is it just a journey of a lifetime for you?
It's more like the journey of a lifetime. I
Mm,
I have been working with divination and magic, as I said, for several decades, and a long time ago, I wrote a little booklet about lithomancy, and I gathered together some polished stones, and I was teaching myself basically how to do this. And I wrote this little booklet and gave it out to a few friends. Well, lo and behold, a copy ended up at Llewellyn Publications in the
Oh,
hands.
wow.
Yeah. And this is the second time that happened. They contacted me and said, "What about a book on this? A whole book, not just a little booklet." And they had done that before in my first book. I wrote a little pamphlet thing and they got a hold of it and said, "Whoa, good stuff, write a book."
Oh
And
my goodness. Now you
yeah,
didn't send it to Llewellyn
no,
directly. Somebody they just got a copy of it.
yep,
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought to myself, number one, I love stones, but I've never written a whole book about them. And number two, I think there's a lot of other people out there who would appreciate having all this information and lore and
Yeah.
ways of working with stones. So, um, my partner and I write for the delight of writing and sharing. Um, we have not gotten wealthy from our books, far
I
from it.
hear that a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, but we can't stop writing. And
Yeah.
this is something that needed me to address it. So I did. And
Oh, it's
now
wonderful.
on to
Yeah.
the next book. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have that planned? Is it in the works for you? You have any thoughts on it or?
We have 23 books in the lineup that need to be written
Oh,
so far.
wow.
Yeah. So this is job
Wow.
security. It means I'll be
Yeah,
writing
it sure is.
when I'm 300 years old, you know?
Oh, yeah. That's funny. So true. Wow, it's such a lovely process to write a book. I mean, I'm trying to dip my toes into that myself. And I think it's like a calling too, because some people just like get automatic writing. They sit down and they get like a download of this, right? Of this information. And I talk to them and they're like, well, I didn't write the book, something else did,
Hmm.
because it just came to me and
Yeah.
it was like a download of information. And I'm like, I'm waiting for my download.
Yeah. Um, authors used to call that their muse. You know, the Greek spirits that inspired poets and writers and
Yeah.
musicians. Um, but yeah, I think everyone, if they're able to open themselves, can have that inspiration flow in.
Yeah.
Because you know what? Every one of us has a story, and that story is
Yes.
worth telling. And if you can find the parts of your story that are worth sharing, that will bring other people joy,
Yes.
understanding, and compassion, then you have an obligation, a responsibility to share your story. And not
Mm,
everyone can do it by writing. Some people do it verbally, some people do it in art, some people,
right.
yeah. But, you know, your story matters, every single one of us on this planet.
Gosh, so true. So true. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's funny because a lot of people think that just because, you have a YouTube channel or you belong to a network that you're making money and it's all about, we make nothing doing this. Literally
Yeah.
nothing. This is just a passion project, and again, it's like a calling so that other people that are asking the same questions, that are wondering about the same things can enjoy and reap the benefits of this. That's what it's like a giving. It just really is a giving
Yes,
process. Yeah,
exactly. And we understand that the more you give, the more you receive. It's
absolutely.
just this endless cycle or spiral that
Absolutely.
keeps
Yeah.
growing. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's why I love doing lives and people join in the chat and they're involved in the conversation and it's like a community and even though it's done electronically, you can feel, especially as an empath, like I feel the energy and I sense that energy. It could be a million miles across the globe and that wonderful connectedness is what it's all about, right?
Yes. Yes. Yeah. And it's the antidote to all the toxicity out there right now. So,
Yes.
you know,
Definitely, definitely.
each of us can spread some light or we can spread some darkness.
That's right. So
Yeah.
what I mean, well, let me ask you this question first. So in your book, I love how you give instructions on how to create your own casting board,
Yeah.
right? And you list every item. I'm going to make one of these. I mean, this is, and the
Yeah.
funny thing is, like, years ago, I would have never, like, I would have thought, and I didn't originally think that way. And then you kind of get molded into what's expected of you. So, like, when you like I started reading tarot cards at a very young age, and that was so frowned upon. So what do? You put them away because your parents, your friends think you're crazy or into witchery. I mean, I can't begin to tell you how many times I've had my husband, God rest his soul, he was never like that with me. He knew. And he would always tell me, Carol Ann, you're not from here. So do what you do. Cause, I know you're not from Earth. Like, he would joke around. But I had friends that one time I invited, and I got to tell you this, I met a coven, and they were a lovely group of people, and a lot of them were musicians, and I love music. And I had this basement area, uh, and I invited a few of them over, and we were playing music and having a nice time. And a neighbor came out and started chastising me, calling me a witch and I'm with a coven, a witch, and it was just awful. The point I'm trying to make is stuff like that really, it shouldn't, but it kind of scares you into place.
Mm.
So, like, we all want to do the things that we feel come naturally to us without being ridiculed publicly. And that's what I hate about social media too, because there's so much judgment. There's so much judgment and finger pointing. And I don't pay attention. I feel bad for the people that do pay attention to that. Like, I could give a flying F what anybody thinks at this point, but I feel bad for the people that want to try lithomancy and want to connect with stones, crystals, and do this stuff. It doesn't mean that they're satanic, and we talked about that. So the point I'm trying to make is, how can we empower ourselves to not let public opinion sway us? Say you've got an altar with your stones and a friend comes over or a relative and they
Mm.
start attacking you for it just reminds me of Red Out of Salem, you know?
Yeah.
Awful.
Yeah. It's a very good question. And there are a lot of people who look at a label. They might hear Wicca or witch or pagan,
Right.
and they think they know what that means. And very often they don't. Okay, very
Right.
often the reality is very different. Okay, I'm going to say it right now out loud here. I'm a witch. Okay, I'm a witch, but I
That's
think
cute.
I think I'm a nice witch. Okay,
Yes.
and if I had, say, a Christian friend who came over and was upset at my altar or my beliefs or something like that, I would talk to them. First of
Mm,
all, I would start on the basis it's unfortunate that they don't understand who I am, where I'm coming from, but they
right.
can't hurt me. They
Mm,
cannot hurt me. Therefore, there's no point in my getting defensive or angry or insulted. All this is a misunderstanding because they don't understand where I'm coming from.
right.
I would offer, out of love, to sit down and talk with them and say, well, you know, tell me about your God. Tell me about your
Mm,
spiritual path. What's at the heart of it? What's the
right.
most important thing about God or Jesus or Allah or Muhammad or pick one? And I would bring it right down to saying, well, connection with spirit and loving one another and respecting God in whatever form you find God,
Right.
and understanding that God or spirit has different names and different faces all
That's
around the
correct.
world.
That's
That
right.
doesn't mean we worship a devil. It means
Right.
that we see God differently than you.
Exactly.
And it's okay because we're still good neighbors and we
Mhm.
still love you. and we still play well with others, and we do not run with scissors. And, you
That's
know,
right.
yeah,
That's
when,
brilliant. That's brilliant.
yeah,
Uh, Kevin asks, have you noticed like-minded people cross your path though, Carol Ann, for every person that doesn't get it? Yes, that is such a true, good point. Thank you for that. So
yes.
true, right?
The energy you put out there is what you attract. If you're
Absolutely.
putting out fear and anger, I'm afraid that's what's going to come to your life.
Oh,
Yeah. If you're putting
so
out
true.
love and understanding and clarity, then that's what comes to your life. And you will
Yeah.
draw the people that you need in your life, and most of them will be wonderful. I can't remember the last time somebody called me out or insulted me or
Oh,
anything
that's wonderful.
because I'm a witch. I'm 78 years old. I've been doing this for decades, and
Yeah.
I don't have nasty people come around and yell at me about
Finger point.
devils.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm putting out. That's not what I'm attracting.
Yeah.
So,
And I had heard too that even back in Salem during the trials that it was could be true, was a land grab, that they were arresting men and women and men. I think a few men were
mhm.
also arrested for witchery, right? Was really a land grab to grab the land of these persecute. I don't know. It could be true.
And that was one motivation. Um,
Oh, it was. Yeah, I had heard that.
yeah, it's one of them because some of
Mm,
those women, their husbands had died, and they were the owners of their farms and so on. And sometimes people can get very
yeah,
greedy and say, "I want that
yeah,
farm."
exactly.
Uh, that's maybe not the only reason. There's a lot of others, but
A lot of others, yeah.
that
But
was
it's
part of
true,
it.
Michelle. People fear what they don't know, and they immediately, want to attack. And um, yeah, I'm just looking at some of the other comments, but yeah, I mean, it's tragically sad. And the reason I bring it up is because I still see some of that today, the judgment, just because like we could still believe in Christ consciousness and still believe in divination, still believe in the power of the earth, still believe in, all of the goodness and how we're connected to the earth. Now,
Sure.
you talked about trees before. Like sometimes when I'm walking my dog, I try to remember to touch the trees and like connect with them. Um, does it help even if you just touch the tree for a minute or two? Like, do you absorb that energy or does it need to be more grounding, like experience?
Um, yeah, don't overthink it and don't make it more complicated than it has to be.
Mm,
Um, you don't have to do some ceremony in an exalted state of mind or go into
right.
meditation. You know,
Yeah.
just look at the tree, admire it, appreciate it, touch it, and say, you know, I appreciate you. Thank
Ah,
you
there
for
you
the
go.
oxygen. Thank you
Yeah,
for
yeah.
the shade. Thank you for
Right.
being home to wildlife. Thank you for all of that.
Yeah.
And that feeling of gratitude does two things. It goes into
Mm,
the tree, and
mhm.
what the tree thinks of that, we don't know for sure, but it can't
Right.
hurt. But the other thing it does is put you in a grateful frame of mind
Yes.
where suddenly your life is improved just by thanking a tree. You are now a thankful person, and your blood pressure is going down, and
Yes.
your breathing is steadying, and
Yes.
you're breathing
Michelle,
the
that's so good.
oxygen. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I
So,
love that.
yeah,
You don't
keep
have
it
to make it
simple.
a complicated ceremony. It could just be gratitude, like, for the experience.
Sure.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. That is so cool.
And
Yeah,
do it
we
with
are.
people. Do it with
Yes,
people too.
do. Yeah, yeah, because that's such a good point, because I noticed that, like, if you wake up and you're not having the greatest day, and you don't do something right then and there, like when I wake up and I'm having a bad day, I try desperately to recite gratitude and I say I'm grateful for, and I notice that that helps me out of that mood. But if I don't do that and I stay in that mood, wherever I go to the store or whenever I'm in the car or wherever I'm at, I'll notice people that are in that same mood, who's
Mm.
angry, beeping at somebody, who's annoyed in the grocery store. Like you really do attract that. So, because you're putting that energy out there. So we don't want to put that into our stones either. Should we make sure that like we're in a good mindset before we sit and connect with our stones? Or does that not matter?
And not necessarily, because you might want to connect with the stones to get to a better mindset. Okay? If you're
Right.
angry or afraid or whatever, depressed, um, you can pick up a stone and use that stone for grounding and admire the stone and appreciate the stone. And yes, some of your negative energy will go into that rock. Absolutely. But you know what? It won't hurt the rock. And then all you have to do is sit it outside in the sunlight or on
And let
the
it
earth,
cleanse.
and that negativity will flow out of it. And that way you're working with the rock. Don't be afraid that you will infect the rock with your bad mood. Um,
Mm,
Rocks can channel this kind of energy. They've been doing it for millions of years. Okay? They know how to channel energy. So, oh,
yeah.
let me offer you one other
Yeah.
thing. You were talking about waking up in the morning and feeling in a bad space.
Some
Okay.
type of way. Yeah.
Yeah. And I found, which is very simple, three things can move me out of that. One is gratitude that you mentioned. The second is simply physical activity. The more
Mm,
we use our bodies, the less we focus on negative
yes.
thinking. And the third one is service. Do something for someone
Oh,
else.
yes. Love that.
Yeah, those three things will bring you right out of whatever mood you're in,
Yeah.
unless it is a total medical imbalance, in which case go see an endocrinologist if you're depressed all the time, okay?
Yeah.
Uh, but those three
I love
things,
that.
yeah,
Especially the service to others. And I think that and this is just my opinion. I don't think we need to like run to a soup kitchen and start dishing out soup. I think we could do that in so many ways. So it
mhm,
could be a phone call that you're having with a friend who needs that, 8 minutes of your time to kind of share. It could be any type of giving, right?
yes, absolutely. Yeah, sometimes there's not a soup kitchen right outdoors, and
Exactly.
yeah,
Right.
but
Yeah,
there's,
because I thought about that. It doesn't mean you need to go run to a battered women's shelter and like spend 8 hours there. There's so many other ways that you can help and support people. And I mean, even with my dog, like I'll notice when he's in need of extra hugs and kisses, and like just doing simple things like that can really transform your mood.
absolutely,
Yeah,
yeah. Dogs are
yeah,
great, great
they are.
healers. Do you
Yeah.
know, 2,000 years ago and more, they had healing temples where people would come, and the priests and priestesses of Hygeia or
Yeah.
Breed, of healing deities, they would bring you in if you were ill or injured
Yeah. Yeah.
and work with you. A lot of those temples had dogs.
Ah,
They dogs on the staff. Some of them had
yeah.
snakes.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Not too
but
crazy about them.
well, not venomous. But a lot of them had dogs there, and part of the healing was spend time with the dog.
Yeah, yeah, look at how they bring them in hospitals today too.
Yep.
They bring them in hospital. So Amber, if you don't mind, we're gonna tackle Carrie's question. She's such a beloved person here. She said she just got off the phone. She was denied financial government support, and she feels at peace at the moment, yet financially broke. I can't explain. Anyone else care to discern? And I thought maybe we could kind of tackle that because a lot of us are feeling that way. There's many people that are not getting their government assistance with food stamps, and it's just a god awful situation. Somebody needs to do something. Do you have any advice for her, or can she use maybe some lithomancy or do some stonework? I don't know. I'll let you take it. You
Okay.
take.
Yeah, stonework never hurts. I like the fact that she said she's at peace at the moment, despite the situation. That's a great place to start from, okay?
Mhm.
Because if her focus was on fear and anger at the government and whatever, that's not going to help the situation. So
Right.
she's at peace, yay rah.
Yeah.
So you probably want to do some magic if you know how to do that. Do a little ritual for prosperity, which could involve stones, certainly. You know, charge up a stone, sing to it, drum to it, whatever. Charge up a stone for prosperity and start carrying it with you.
Ah,
But that's the easy part, okay? You know, get a green rock or, you know, a sparkly pyrite or something like that's the easy part. Because any magic requires that you act in accord. You have to do work on the physical plane to support the magic. And that work can be things like calling everyone you know and saying, I need a job. Do you know of
mm,
any jobs anywhere? Do you know of anyone who works in a company that needs employees? And that's how most jobs are gained. If,
yes.
if you're job hunting,
Yeah.
is contact people you know. Secondly, don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid to use food banks. Don't be afraid to let your friends know that you're broke at the moment and you could use some help. And if they even invite you over for dinner or bring you a sack lunch, every
Yeah.
bit helps. Okay. Um,
Yeah.
a third thing I would do is say, okay, if the federal government has failed me, I don't know which branch you're dealing with. If the federal government has failed me, is it the state government or even my local
Ah,
community
right.
government? Do
That's a
they
great
have
point.
resources? Okay, again, look around, ask for help. And the thing is, we live in a nation which is food rich and resource rich, and yet people are hungry.
Yeah.
Well, we all know that's just wrong, but we also all know that there is food out there and there is financial support out there. It's a question of connecting with it. And if
Mm,
you really believe that you have a connection with everything and person in this universe, you
yeah.
already have a connection to people that can help you. Okay? So look around, write stuff down, brainstorm, talk to your friends. How can I get out of this mess? What can I do? Is there anything you can do to help? Do you know anyone that could help? Etc., etc.
Yeah.
Just be really, really active in looking around and talking to everyone you know. And
Network.
resources will network.
Yeah.
Resources will start to pop up.
Yeah.
And if you want to reinforce it, create a little pattern of stones on your altar. Okay.
Mm.
What about a stone for every friend you have? What about a stone for every agency that's out there
Ah,
that
that's a
might
good
provide
idea.
help? And start moving those stones around and say, oh, I never called that friend. Oh, I never contacted that agency. Oh, I never asked my
Yeah,
church if they
yeah,
have
yeah,
food help.
yeah. Yeah, because
Yeah.
it'll bring it to you and you'll start remembering, who you have to call. Michelle says call state senators. There are some that oversee financial assistance and they can take a look. Yeah, there's your state and local um agencies can
Yeah.
definitely, like you mentioned, and I've seen people starting GoFundMe accounts and people
Mhm.
have gotten lots of money. Like, go on social media, don't be ashamed, I wouldn't be, and say, hey, I'm having a tough time right now, I need a GoFundMe. Even $1,000 would take me a long way right now.
Sure.
I mean, there's a lot of creative ways. This government needs to, and all governments need to get their act together and stop the infighting and just come up with a solution so that the people can live in peace and harmony. Good God, please, it's got to end.
Yes.
Canada has broke itself. Yeah, Carrie said, poor Canada, they're going through it. They're going through it so bad. Amber, so you said and of course, if you have any other questions for Amber, feel free to throw them in there. But I'm so fascinated by your life and your energy, and this conversation has been so enlightening and wonderful. And I want to just take the time personally to thank you, because it's just been, I can't believe almost 2 hours went by. It's been such a great resource. And I also, of course, want to have you back. I would love to have you back. I have 2 pages of questions left that I didn't even get to ask you. So maybe when I end this show, you could stick around in the studio and we could talk for a minute or two before you split entirely. But um what do you, I know you said you have many books that you're working on. You have such a list. Could you give us a little hint of maybe a topic that you're working on that's like calling your name to write a book about?
Sure. Oh, wow. Where to begin? Okay. There's one that's going to be quick. It's called The Witch's Pyramid, and it's about changing your life
Mm.
through magic. And the Witch's Pyramid is about preparing yourself to become a magical practitioner. So that's one.
Oh,
Another one I would like to do is a little short book on um, the whole gender thing and what trans people are all about, because there's so much
oh,
misinformation and unhappiness and anger about that issue. And I know something about human sexuality and gender, so I would like to write that one. I would like to write a book on warrior women. And I use warrior not only in the sense of joining the military or being an Amazon sword fighter or something. I use the sense of peaceful warrior, of being a um, focused, disciplined person who fights against evil and ignorance, not
mm,
necessarily with weapons or martial arts, but by virtue of our strength of will and
mm.
and so on. So, but it's basically about the warrior path of spirituality, um, but not at all limited to soldiers. So those are three that are up top on the list, and then
Yeah,
there's 20 more.
yeah. I
Yeah.
think too that whole transgender thing would be a great resource for folks, um, because there is so much misunderstanding and hate in that community, outside of that community, I should say, and
Mhm.
maybe in it too. And I think we need to really approach it with a way of dispelling a lot of that. So that would probably be a really great, especially in this, everything is, it's like clown world. Everything is turned upside down,
Oh, that's for sure. But
right?
yeah, sometimes a calm, rational, accurate, honest approach to a subject is the best way to go about it. And
Yes.
and I think that's true of gender issues too. It's nothing to panic over. It's nothing to have anger and hatred about. It's something to understand and have some compassion about.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, and I get the perspective, not to change topics, but just to kind of throw this out there. I guess the perspective from women, um, is that we don't want our womanhood hijacked. And
Hmm.
yet at the same time, I respect someone that feels that feminine energy. Maybe they
Hmm.
feel that to their core.
Hmm.
Totally respect that too. So we need to find a way to like work together and live together and kind of merge the thinking, I think,
Sure.
and still be respectful of each other's boundaries and things like that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it does feel like clown world. And
It does.
it goes against our like cognitive bias. We all have them. And I think it's a good thing to challenge that,
Yeah.
like challenge it, rethink your old ways of thinking. And it might open up your pineal gland a little bit too. Who knows?
Yeah, whether you call it Christ consciousness or whether
Yeah.
you call it goddess awareness or whatever you call it, there is a part of us which is wise enough and compassionate enough to find answers if we sit down and are open with one another.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Sure.
I thoroughly enjoyed this conversation, and I know the folks that are watching and listening have as well. And I truly thank you. It's been a blessing. And of course, we'll have the link to where you can get that book on Amazon and wherever fine books are sold, right?
Yep. Okay. Thank you so much, Carolyn, and blessings to you and to everyone
Thank you.
who's out there.
Thank you. And I'll speak to you shortly.
Okay.
Thank you, Amber. Well, thank you everyone so much. You guys in the chat are the absolute best. Yeah, I have clown music too in my head. Funny, funny. We have to laugh. We have to meet this with levity. But again, I just want to thank all of you. This conversation has been one of my favorites. It's been great connecting with Amber. It's truly shown us the power of the Earth's oldest allies, stones, crystals, and whatnot, right? Trees, everything in nature. And it goes so much deeper. I think we realize that this powerful practice of lithomancy can work uh, so much in our favor in our daily lives. I highly recommend the book, folks. Go grab it. Not only is it a beautiful copy, but inside is packed with so much. There's so many lessons in there, instructions. You'll find the link to that in the description of if you go to YouTube and go to Ethereal Encounters Unveiled, our channel, you'll find the link to where you can get this book. So definitely check it out. And thank you all again for tuning in. You've been listening to Ethereal Encounters Unveiled on the United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network, which is 105.3 on the Gulf Coast, 107.7 FM in New Orleans. Thank you, all of you in the chat. Thank you, all of you listening. And we love you dearly. And we thank United Public Radio. And we'll see you on Wednesday. We'll have Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday live shows. Please be sure if you can pop in and chat with us. We absolutely love it. Thank you, Michelle. I thought it was awesome too. I adore Amber. Thank you so much, Heidi, and everybody, Mish. And if you need any help, Mish, we're here. So just know that. Hugs, Patsy. Love you. Thank you. Great. She is a great guest. Adored speaking with her. Thank you, everyone out there. I wish I can not miss anybody. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you. Your comments are brilliant. I'm just full of gratitude. I love it. It makes me feel absolutely joy. See you all soon. Have a fab weekend. Do something good for yourself. Show yourself some self love. Love you all. Bye bye.